Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. So moving on with this terrazzo, you saw me make this in a previous video. I had dreams and ideas straight away for this teeny tiny terrazzo sprinkles, and that was abstract. Throw it all in, have fun. One of my favorite things to do. Let's go. I will be using these trinket tray molds. You would have seen these 100 times on my channel, but these two here and this Monstera Leaf mold were sent to me by one of my patrons, Vivian. So thank you so much, Vivian. She was downsizing and sent me a whole box of molds, including the gnome mold that you would have seen on Saturday's collaboration. So first up, we are going in with that miniature, teeny tiny terrazzo sprinkle, and I want to create a nice background color for it. I thought I would try the purple out of the neon kit from Resin Pro. Haven't tried the purple yet, so I figured this would kind of work with them all. What I'm doing is just mixing up a small amount of Jesmonite, and I'm adding in my terrazzo chips until it is super jam packed. Like when I do terrazzo, I like to really pack my chips in like this, so there's more terrazzo chips than there are Jesmonite neat. Now I am going to speed this section up a little bit because it took a while. I do each individual colour separately, washing my utensils and my tools in between each stage. So here we are, sped up. First thing to do is get your terrazzo chips in there. So I'm actually going, no rules, I'm not really putting much thought into it. I just know that I want some patterns in there. I don't necessarily want to cover too much. In some I put more than others, and I kind of just eyeball it. You know, this is one of those times, this is one of those videos you would have seen me do on my channel before, where you just chill out and you just do what you want, and there's no rules, absolutely no limitations, and that is why these kind of things are my absolute favourite thing to do. So I am just coming to the end of putting all of my terrazzo chips in there. They've worked really, really well, and I'm super happy. So I give everything a bit of a bash to get those those areas flattened as much as possible and reduce air bubbles. Next up is the neon pink. Now the neon pink and the neon yellow are my two favourite colours in this entire kit by Resin Pro. I will link the kit below. Again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of sitting there thinking, I'll put some dots here, I'll do some lines here, I'll do some squiggly lines over here, and I'll just squish it all in and throw it in and hope for the best. And I think when you do projects like this, you have to trust the process. So many of you have said it to me before, and I have said it before. You have to trust the process. What might look like chaos and what might feel a little bit chaotic at the time, you have to trust that it is going to turn out super gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So I just went in on the left with some squiggles, some lines, some dots and some splodges and some, you know, just chuck it all in. This is definitely the chuck it all in technique. Now, what I would recommend if you're doing this is to go down into the channels as well, into the sides of those trays, because that definitely adds to the end results. What I was doing here was adding some marble. After I've put in the terrazzo and the splodges and the dots and the lines, I wanted to try some marbling. This is a technique that I've seen on someone's Instagram, but I don't know who it was. So thank you so much to the person there where I saw it. The marbling didn't work out for me. I usually marble with plain Jesmonite and some neat colorant by Jesmonite, but because I'm using neons and I'm using bright colors, I couldn't really do that, so I had to mix up two batches. So here you see I've used some natural Jesmonite and I've mixed up a little bit of the orange neon, and I put it in the natural Jesmonite to create my marble, and it didn't really work out, I'll be honest. But now for the neon yellow. The neon yellow makes my heart sing. Even watching the video back and doing this voiceover, I am just, oh, it gives me a warm, a fuzzy, happy feeling, because the neon yellow is another level of amazing. And yeah, this was the one color that I didn't want to stop. I wanted to just keep going, keep going, keep going. So I decided to put in some zigzags, some stripes, some dots, and some semicircular lines, like rainbow lines. And really, like I said, there's no limit to what you could do with this because it's just super gorgeous and it's just, oh god, I love it so much. I really, really love it. But yeah, I just kept going until all of that neon Jesmonite yellow had come out of my squeezy bottle and there was really not much left I could squeeze out. Like I said, I was cleaning up my tools in between each and every colour. So the reality of me sitting here doing this was around about an hour and a half before I poured the backing colour. You can now see that that purple terrazzo is completely dried and cured. It is ready to come out, but I've only just poured the yellow. So yes, there is a risk of sweat lines. Do I worry about it? No, not at all. When I've done things like this before, when I've done abstract Jesmonite, I've always loved the sweat lines because they give definition and they give defined lines between each colour, and that is why I'm not worried about leaving all of this Jesmonite in the moulds for a good hour before it comes to actually pouring the backing colour. Now the backing colour is like a turquoise aqua. I thought it would really work well because I was kind of inspired by the Jesmonite leaf mould. It's kind of the same colour, and I thought actually that is going to make a gorgeous backing colour, and that is why I made this. So this is 1 drop blue, 2 drops green. Just go really easy when you add your pigment and go slowly and work it up to the turquoise stroke aqua colour that you feel that you really, really like. And I love it so, so much. I made a little bit too much Jesmonite because yeah, it was hard to kind of calculate how much all 4 of these molds would take, but it was okay. Always have a spare mold. 30 minutes later, demold, and oh my goodness, honestly, oh my, I was going to say oh my giddy aunt, but I didn't know if that would be a saying that a lot of you guys know, but oh my giddy aunt. I absolutely love that turquoise background against that neon yellow. Pops, absolutely pops something crazy. Now of course the marble you can see on the right hand side here, the orange, it didn't work out. It really didn't work out, but you know what, it's there now and there's nothing we can do about it. It doesn't take away from the overall piece. I adore, and I even adore the sides. Sometimes the sides get overlooked, but you can get some super cool patterns in the side. And of course we do still have to sand back those purple areas where the terrazzo is. This one, guys, my favorite, my absolute favorite one out of all 4 because everything about it I just love. I love the yellow neon dots next to the pink. I love the pink dots in the edge with the yellow on the background. I love everything about it. This one, I feel like maybe I put a little bit more thought into it, where I place the dots and how it would look in the end result, but loving them. Out of the trays, I have to say, out of the 2 trays, this one again is my favourite because of that neon yellow. That neon yellow is coming through for me. Honestly, the dots, the semicircular lines, I had an issue on the end. I'm not sure what happened here. It's the only bit that went strange, but the part on the right hand side still felt really wet and was coming off on my hands. The blue was coming off on my hands. So there is a chance that a clump of pigment kind of overpowered the Jesmonite and that little bit there didn't cure, but it's cured now. This is a few days later, it's thoroughly cured now, so again, not an issue, but there will be a dent in the tray on the end. Like I say, homemade with love, not perfection. Handmade with love, not perfection. The Monstera Leaf, again, absolutely gorgeous. Really, really love it. Because with some of these lines I just went for it, I just went wild and crazy. Of course you're then going to get some drip off, you're going to get these lines on the back. So my technique is to just turn it over real gently, push real gently, and they will just snap straight off, and then you can start your sanding. So I like to sand straight away. The recommendation is to wait 24 hours, but I don't follow the rules. and you want a bucket of water or a bowl of water, and you want wet, dry, waterproof sandpaper. I'm starting with 800 grit, but in an ideal world, I would start with 250. 250 is a lot more grainy. It's going to get the work done, the job done quicker. But I don't have any lower grits left. My lowest grit is 800, so it still does the job. It just takes a little bit longer. You want to sand either in water or by water, and you want to continue to add water to where you are sanding. One question I did get over on my Instagram was, does the sanding impact the rest of the work? All of these lines, these dots, these images, this abstract splashing, like chuck it all in technique. And the answer is absolutely not. There is absolutely no detrimental effect to those lines, those dots, those patterns, those zigzags when you are sanding just one area. If you wanted to sand the entire surface, you absolutely could. And again, there would be no detrimental effect. The only thing that might happen is that you might uncover some air pockets that you didn't know were there. So my advice would be, just sand the areas that you need to sand. You're taking away such a small amount that it's not going to leave like canyons or indentations in your piece. I really tried to focus on the terrazzo areas only, and if I sanded in and around the area, it really was not an issue at all. It didn't hurt anything that was surrounding those terrazzo areas. But like I said, if you really wanted to, you could just sand the whole surface. Just be prepared, because some of these air bubbles, they like to betray us and they like to just sit below the surface and we don't know they're there. But yeah, I'm really loving it. You just want to sand your terrazzo back until you are so happy with how many terrazzo chips are showing in the surface. The more terrazzo chips that you put into your Jesmonite, the more terrazzo chips will show in your end product. My very first terrazzo video was shocking, guys. It was so shocking. I thought I knew what I was doing and I really didn't. I mean, most of the time I still don't. But anyway, keep on going in and out of the water, add more water, sand some more, add more water, sand some more, until you are perfectly happy with the results. Now I am going to speed the rest of them up for you because I was just showing you this in real time. Each individual piece took around 25 minutes to sand, so that's a solid hour and a half to sand all 4 pieces back. That is after making them. So when you do terrazzo, just be prepared, okay? Be prepared. Understand that you do need to sand. The other question I get a lot on terrazzo is leaving marks and leaving scratches in your Jesmonite. Now, I usually start at a much lower grit, say 250 grit. After that, it will leave some scratches. So then you can go in with an 800, 1000, 1200, or even 2000 grit. That will take away all of those scratches and leave your surface super smooth. So that is how I overcome any scratches left by sanding. I was actually using a different paper here and it did not like it. I didn't like it and the Jesmonite didn't like it. I had a really low grit of wet dry that I got in a pack recently, and I was not a fan. I didn't like the feeling of it at all, so I actually swapped back to my Amazon paper. But yeah, I'm gonna speed the rest of this up for you guys. I'm now getting into this speedy because honestly, if I didn't speed this up, this video would be 35 minutes long, and that's a very long time to sit through. So when sanding your terrazzo, make sure, like I said, you are by water, you have access to water the whole time. Use a bucket or a bowl and use your wet dry sandpaper. Now honestly, I would not sand my terrazzo in the bathroom sink or the bath and have it running underwater, because whilst Jesmonite is eco-friendly, it will also set in your pipes. It sets underwater, which is why I always sand in a bucket or in a bowl, and then the next day I pour that bowl through a sieve before I actually rinse my bowls out. And you will always find solid cured Jesmonite at the bottom of your bowls as well. So always be careful when it comes to doing things in the bath and in the sink and just running things straight down the drain. Now, if you've been with me a while, you will know I don't really like sanding. It's not my cup of tea. I would avoid it at all costs. But just to clear up a few questions as well, Jesmonite in itself doesn't need sanding. If you were to make a simple Jesmonite tray, you do not need to sand back that surface. That surface is that surface. The only thing you need to sand is sharp edges on the bottom or anywhere where there is a sharp edge and terrazzo. They are the only two reasons you would need to sand your Jesmonite AC100. So that is also answering someone else's question that came through recently. Now, I did actually swap out from sanding in midair. Don't do that, guys. It really hurts. Like I said, each piece took around 30 minutes, so I ended up just putting it on a towel. I laid a towel down on my surface just to give me that grip, and I was able to sand so much more efficiently, and it didn't hurt anymore because honestly, your hands hurt so much. And like I said, you all know I don't love sanding, but this process of just having a few little areas of terrazzo, honestly, I've loved. I've absolutely loved this kind of terrazzo where there's not too much of it. There's not too much of it, and I don't have to spend hours sanding entire pieces. Hats off to anyone who does terrazzo full time. Like, I am in awe of you. And the other question I've had a lot is, can we use electric sanders? Yes, you can. I just choose not to. I haven't really ventured down that avenue of trying to find electric sanders. I feel like the mess would just be too much for me, and I'm not on some kind of big scale business here where I've got like a conveyor belt of pieces of work that need sanding. If I was making terrazzo on that level, I absolutely would invest in an electric sander, but for these, hand sanding is perfect, and I've thoroughly enjoyed these. Can you believe I'm saying that out loud? I have enjoyed sanding these because I knew there wasn't much to sand, and actually the terrazzo chips came through quite quickly. So yeah, that is all. I think I've answered every question that could possibly come up, but if there are any more, of course, do let me know in the comment section down below. And if you are still here, please do not forget to give me that like. That like is the only way that I can grow. If you give me that thumbs up, that is what YouTube will see, that you like this content, and they will push my videos out. So the more thumbs up I get, the bigger my video will get. I hope that makes sense. And if you are still here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It is free to subscribe. So if you are still here and you have not subscribed, you clearly want to be here. I know you'll have fun, so hit that subscribe button as well. I hope you've really enjoyed this, because this is the kind of thing that I could do all day, every day, just absolutely go with the flow, no rules, chuck it all in, and look at the results. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love them. They are so bright, and my patrons over on Patreon actually saw these last week, and a few of them did actually mention they reminded them of Saved by the Bell, which was, I believe it was American. I don't know, because I've never seen it, but one of them did send me a link to check it out, and yes, oh my gosh, the brightness, the 80s 90s vibe was absolutely there. So yeah, I hope you agree, and I hope you loved it, and I will see you all in the next video, which will be Jesmonite terrazzo and epoxy resin, and I'm already in love with those two, so someone help. I'll see you then. Bye.